Hey YouTube. Okay, now for something totally different. Uh, been watching on YouTube these guys making these wool blanket shirts. Some of them call them boreal shirts, and some people call them an anorak. And I got a Harbor Freight wool blanket here, and an old sweatshirt. And most of the guys just lay it out on top and mark it out roughly, and this is marked out roughly. You can see my lines around here. You can mark it with a Sharpie. Works pretty good. Most of the guys walk around the chairs here. I got it on the dining room table. Most of the guys just kind of pull the sleeves up straight and with the top edge here where it's folded over. But I elected to cut mine on an angle here. See, it's all way oversized. I drew around a glass here and got a radius in these corners. But anyway, I am no sewing type person, but I am trying to be a well-rounded individual, so I figured I'd give it a shot. Here you see I started cutting a little bit. It cuts really easy just with regular scissors. But anyway, I'll get her cut out, and once I start sewing it up, which is going to be a hoot in itself, I'm sure, I'll get you back on here. All right, thanks. All right, here we go again. I sewed up this top here where I cut the angle on both sides, and I cut a neck hole in there, just a rough one. And I went ahead and pinned up the sides and under the arms, and I tried this thing on, and I screwed up. I'm actually going to show you my mistakes. I guess if a guy ain't making mistakes, he's not doing anything. But anyway, I guess there's a reason those guys leave that straight across the top. For one thing, it cuts down on your sewing, and for another thing, I think it'll just work better. By the time I turned under and got that sewed up, which actually came out pretty good, but by the time you do the same thing on the bottom side of the sleeve and down the sides, it's going to be way too small. I had it on, and it's actually snug right now, and after you sew it up, it's going to be worse. So anyway, if you'll notice, there is another blanket laying underneath. I happen to have two of these, so I'm going to start over. But luckily I didn't get too awful far before I found out. But anyway, all right, I'll get the next one cut out and start sewing it up, and I'll get back with you. Okay, here we go. I got this thing all cut out, which ain't no big deal, it cuts easy. But anyway, I have started sewing down the side here, headed towards the arm. And it's actually laying on the front right now. The front's a little shorter than the back. And what I have to do, I go ahead and fold over like 3/4 of an inch and pin it all down to hold it in place. And then I started sewing. This is actually the front. I started sewing, sewed up there with just I think they call it a whip stitch. But anyway, sewed up there. This one pin here, I measured down like, I think it was 26 inches from the top. And that's where I started sewing the back to the front. So it's gonna have a little split up the side. But anyway, then I'll have to come back and sew this edge. But anyway, I am making headway. Of course, this isn't a very difficult stitch. I don't know if you're going to be able to see me doing it or not. If you don't, you're not missing much. I go over about 3/8 of an inch from the previous stitch and about 3/8 of an inch from the edge, and you just poke her through there and give the previous stitch a little tug and tighten up the stitch you just put in, and boom, there you go. I used, when I sewed across the top of the last one there that I decided not to finish, I was using a blanket stitch, which it takes like 3 times as long, at least it does me. And it doesn't have any advantage other than being a little more decorative, I don't think. At least that's my theory. But anyway, this is a long, boring haul. But if you want one, I guess that's what it takes. But actually, I'm sewing through. Of course, I have that folded over 3/4 on the front, 3/4 on the back. When you put them together, you're sewing through 3/8 of an inch. And hopefully you don't go through the eye part of one of your needles, or you're going to have to end up, or not needles, safety pins, or you're going to have to end up cutting that in order to get it off the stitch. Because after you sewed it up, there ain't no way you're going to want to cut the thread. The thread I'm using is a waxed linen. It's actually for leather work. I bought that at Jo-Ann Fabrics, the same place as I bought my big honking Manly needle, which is great because boy, it don't take nothing to thread it. It just got a big old hole in it. And actually you would think, I'll do another one here, 4 layers would take more effort to go through than what it does. It just slides through there just as nice as everything. I saw one guy there on YouTube. He was sewing up one of these with a bone needle, and he was fighting it. That's fine if that's the way you want to do it. Or wait a minute, it wasn't bone, it was wood. He actually whittled a needle out, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I just don't want to work that hard at it. It's boring enough this way without having to fight with your needle every stitch. But I wish you could see this a little better, but I mean, it's not rocket science. It just put her through there. And the only way I found out that I can do it successfully is I pull it over here and work off the edge of the table, which is fine. It's all open underneath of you then. But anyway, here's one of my innovations there. I keep a paper clip. When I was a kid, we used to call these bulldogs. But anyway, I keep a paper clip up there to hold the sides in alignment, and then I sew up to it and move it down about another 6 inches or so. But anyway, that is the, well, progress so far. But I will continue on when I get both these sewed up. I'll get a neck hole in it. Then we'll come back to it. But I'm going to call this a video. And with my internet connection, I got to keep them pretty short or I never get them uploaded. So anyway, I just want to thank you for watching. My views, almost 33,000. I'm pushing 450 subscribers. I'm really impressed. And I really appreciate your support. But at any rate, thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Y'all have a good one. Thanks.